The spookiest time of the year is here, ladies and gentlemen, and with it, there are crazy costume parties, the decorations, and first of all, horror movie marathons. If we're talking about this, there's a movie that undoubtedly left its mark on the horror movie genre. Does the whisper, "I see dead people," tell you something? If you know what movie it belongs to, well then congrats. If not, get very comfortable, cause I will tell you about the life of Haley Joel Osment, the charismatic actor who made the iconic phrase unforgettable. And by the way, did you know that now he is the one who frightens others? Let's get in this video to find out. Please don't hate me for what I'm gonna tell you, but can you believe that 20 years have passed since the premiere of the movie The Sixth Sense? Wait, what? It seems like it just premiered in the movie theaters. Where did the time go? Well, we're all getting old. So because this horror movie is turning 20 years old, it means that the little Cole Sear, or rather the actor who played him, Haley Joel Osment, is no longer that sweet little boy. Sorry guys. In fact, some time ago, he gave an interview for the newspaper The Independent in which he talked about his experience of fame at such a young age. But before I tell you what the now 31-year-old actor said, let's see how he became one of the most recognizable young faces of the 2000s. Haley Joel Osment was born on April 10th in 1998 in LA. His mother, Teresa, worked as a teacher, just like his father, Eugene, who taught drama and was an actor. Haley, together with his younger sister, Emily, were raised in a deeply religious environment. By the way, after the overwhelming success of her brother, Emily, who was also an actress but not as well known, had to live in the shadow of her older brother. I'll also talk about this later though. Coming back to Haley's childhood and growing up with a father dedicated to art, at an early age he developed a huge interest in acting and decided to follow in his footsteps. Actually, thanks to his dad's connections, little Haley appeared in a commercial for Pizza Hut when he was just 4 years old, and that same year, he got the opportunity to play in the ABC sitcom Thunder Alley. Because of his massive charisma combined with his unquestionable talent, despite not many movie roles on his resume, in 1994, Haley was chosen to play the movie none other than Forrest Gump Jr. in one of the most iconic movies in the history of cinema. Just with a couple of scenes in the movie, the little boy already had the audience in the palm of his hand. But the most iconic role of the psychic child Cole in The Sixth Sense in 1999 was just about to open his door to Hollywood. But first, it opened the heart of the director M. Night Shyamalan. And Haley once said in an interview how the audition for the role of Cole looked like. It turns out that by the time Osment showed up to the audition, the director had already seen many other young actors pass by, so in some way, he'd already learned the dialogue by heart. But when the charismatic and talented Haley finished his part, it was as if the director had heard it for the first time. Well, let me tell you that according to Osment, the audition consisted of so many emotions. The only thing Shyamalan could say to him was, "Oh my God, who are you?" The rest we know as the tremendous movie that gave everyone goosebumps, and many are still scared every time they see it. Some can't even sleep at night when they hear the phrase, "I see dead people," and they run off terrified. No, for real, this is what my friend is like. But he's not the only one. It turns out that during an interview for Page Six, Haley admitted that when he hears the same iconic phrase, he also gets goosebumps. Anyway, if we combine the innovative story and the fascinating and excellent acting of the young actor, as a result we will get one of the favorite movies of the horror fans. The public and the critics were so fascinated with the movie that Haley not only made the phrase "I see dead people" a classic, it even is placed 44th on the list made by the American Film Institute of the 100 most iconic film phrases of all time. And for his role in Sixth Sense, Haley also received an Oscar and a Golden Globe nomination for Best Supporting Actor. And he was barely 11 years old. Isn't that impressive? The Sixth Sense opened the door for Haley to other great projects, such as another popular science fiction story, AI Artificial Intelligence, directed by the legendary Steven Spielberg, or the heartbreaking and emotional Pay It Forward, where Haley starred alongside Jim Caviezel, who later played Jesus Christ in 2004. But Osment has not only appeared on the screen, but also behind it. He gave his voice to animated characters, for instance in the second part of the movie The Jungle Book, and in The Hunchback of Notre Dame in 2002 and 2003. Now let's get back to the topic of Hailey's younger sister. Do you remember that I told you that unfortunately as an actress, she had to live in the shadow of her older brother? Well, keep in mind that by the time she was born in 1992, Hailey had already been in commercial pizzas for one of the best-known international fast food chains. Then, when she was just 2 years old, she had already played alongside none other than Tom Hanks, and finally, when she was 6, her super talented brother had already become a famous child star. I think I don't need to give any more explanation about why this huge success overshadowed the career of the today 27-year-old Emily. But none of that has been the cause of jealousy or a conflict. In fact, long before Emily appeared in her first big role alongside the then innocent Miley Cyrus and Hannah Montana, the series that brought her to fame, she could already be seen in and out and about her already famous older brother everywhere. And it's great that the two show their fans their great affection that exists between them because they're both often share endearing photos of the moments they spend with each other. If only siblings were like that. Convincing my sister to take a photo with me is really a challenge. And when it comes to starting an acting career at such an early age, there are many who believe that fame, money, and all the luxuries somehow affect the adolescence of these young actors. However, this is not the case with Hailey. He said multiple times that his parents had always took care of him throughout his career and were always very careful with the type of movies in which their son acted. In fact, one time Osment even said that they had worried way too much. Not long ago, the actor returned from a break in his career and appeared in the biographical Netflix movie Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil and Vile, based on the life and infamous criminal Ted Bundy. By the way, a lot has been said about whether his character Jerry Thompson actually existed in real life or not. In the movie, Hailey plays the role of the co-worker of the character played by Lily Collins, who she begins dating after Ted. In an interview with Oxygen.com, the director Joe Berlinger said that Jerry Thompson never really existed and the character was inspired by several people who did exist and were part of the life of Elizabeth Kloepfer, the real-life girlfriend of the infamous Bundy. Hailey's extremely wicked character was friend-zoned at first, and it seems that this role wasn't very different from his real life. For many years, no matter how much the press tried to spy on his love life, there was nothing that would show the actor was active in that area. Well, he kept his romantic life so secret that even at some point, some nosy people started speculating about his sexuality. However, in 2014, he had finally been seen holding hands with a mysterious blonde girl, so everyone assumed it was his girlfriend. And as I said, they assumed because ever since then, Hailey has been known for keeping the details of his private life exactly that. So very little is known, or more like nothing, about who has stolen his heart. But as much as he tries to keep his private life secret, what he couldn't hide was when in July of 2006, he lost control of his car near LA and crashed into a post box. Weeks after the accident, TMZ and other media outlets announced that the 18-year-old has been accused of driving under the influence and drug possession. Although at first it was said that the actor could spend from 6 months to 3 years behind bars, according to sources, he was given a fine of $1,500 and was sentenced to 3 years of probation and compulsory 60-hour rehabilitation program. That's not the only scandal in which Hailey has been involved in. Do you remember when I told you that before dead people scared him? Well, now he scares people. Not dead, but still. So, earlier last year, there were reports that the Las Vegas airport authorities had a call that one of the passengers had become aggressive because he missed his flight. Can you guess who the troublemaker who tried to intimidate the airline workers was? Yes, it was Hailey. So what did the whole incident look like? As described by witnesses, the actor began to shout and threaten the workers by telling them that he was going to destroy them. But by the time the authorities arrived at the scene, the actor had already left on his own. Do you agree that this is more scary than I see dead people? But, oh well, anyone can have a bad day and a fit of anger. Right now, the actor continues to enjoy his favorite hobbies. He plays the guitar and the piano almost every day, plays golf with his friends whenever he can, and attends sporting events from time to time because sports, first of all, basketball, baseball, and golf have been his great passions since he was little. What allows him to have all those expensive hobbies is a fortune of $12 million. Geez, all that money and he couldn't get a private driver and not drive under the influence? It's so hard to understand these millionaires. Anyway, tell us what you think of Haley Joel Osment. Do you agree that The Sixth Sense is a horror movie classic? Let me know what you think in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel to stay up to date with Curious Sips. See you next time.